Well, this is the last session of the conference this year. It's been 2 long days of e-commerce workshops. Very fun, a little tiring, but a good time either way. Every single year we do it. So without further ado, Andre, I will let you take over.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So I'm from New Orleans. So as you guys can see, I am dressed in my Mardi Gras garb. We have a saying down here for Mardi Gras week that every other day is just, everywhere else is just Tuesday. So next Tuesday we'll be out partying, but parades have started and we're in a good mood. I know that you guys have had a lot of sessions and a lot of educational stuff. So I just thought I'd represent our NOLA crew here and have a little fun with Mardi Gras action. So if you guys want some beads or a king cake or any of that stuff, hit me up afterward. We'll get you some goodies in the mail. So I'm excited to talk with you guys today. Mike asked me to share with you some content that's kind of near and dear to our heart, and that is basically the secrets that local jewelers use that the online jewelers should too. So I'm going to walk you through today. We're going to go through kind of the common struggles that I hear when I hear from you guys in the jewelry space. I'm going to give you exactly verbatim what the local jewelers use against you, because I hear it every day in the showrooms. I'm going to give you 5 key strategies that I think you can leverage in your business, stuff that we see that we work on every day. And then we've got a few minutes at the end for Q&A if you have any questions. But real quick about me, obviously I'm from New Orleans. We've been serving jewelers and upscale clients for almost 15 years now. This is our 15th year that we've been in business. And I think that one of the things that's made us different is that we've really been pushing the edge of what people are doing on the social media side in the jewelry space. So that's a little bit about us. We have a small agency of 7. So, we do very much high touch work with clients, and we love our jewelers. So let's hop right into it. So I find this really fascinating that, I used to be in the mortgage business in another life. 15 years ago, I was a mortgage lender, and mortgage lenders were doing the same thing you guys are doing now. They were sweating to death that, all the online guys were going to come in and wipe out the local mortgage business. And, it's a real issue for people who are trying to make that decision. Did they buy online or did they buy local? There's different kind of pros and cons with each in their minds, but there's no doubt about it. The online stuff is here to stay and it's not going away. But the consumer, from the consumer standpoint, you guys are in the econ space, and so in your brain that's the best option. But you got to always remember, the shoppers, the average person is trying to make that decision because they can buy from you, or there's a really good shot that there's Mike and I were just talking. There's probably 10 jewelers within the you can't swing a cat without hitting a jeweler from their location. So they've got to drive past jewelry stores every day, no matter where they're going. But I hear from many of you. We get questions or calls or just cries for help, and e-commerce questions. And I'm sure you guys have covered this in your conference this week. People want to know what traffic sources are best. Why isn't my social media working? Why we're seeing better results from that. How do we get more sales, improve our conversion rates? And I think I can't tell you how many times I've heard. I talked to a customer today at lunchtime, and he's like, "Man, I'm just so hesitant with this. Our last agency screwed me," and blah, blah, blah. And I've heard that over and over again. So, my heart goes out for you guys with that. Everything I'm going to give you today are things that we're doing, not only with clients, but in our own business. Because one of the things that I found is that we can't really do for others what we're not doing for ourselves. So we'll kind of give you some of that. But, I get it. I kind of can relate. But here's what I hear, when I go see our local clients. Here's what I hear them tell me, and that they feel like they tell their customers that you guys in the econ space aren't real businesses, just a dude working from home, selling some rings and drop shipping everything. And, whatever you saw on the website is not what you're going to get. I had a jeweler tell me a story, and he tells a story to every client that walks in the door. He's like, "Yeah, I had a guy buy a $6,500 ring from some online company, and he got it in, and it was supposed to be a whatever, and it turned out to be almost yellow. It was so terrible, and they had to send it back, and he saw this one that we had, it was so much better, and boy, he was so happy." Those kind of stories, whether or not they're real or they're common or they're happen all the time, those kind of stories are what they are telling people in terms of why you shouldn't buy from online jewelers. And In the back end, though, I can tell you what they're sweating. What they're sweating is that, their brick and mortar costs a lot of money to maintain. They've got sales staff, they've got inventory to maintain. I mean, there's a lot that goes on with that they sweat and that they worry about. So this is kind of how they balance it out when they talk to clients. And then, they're worried about pricing. They know that, that customers have the perception that they can save money if they buy online. So they're always kind of balancing that out. But here's what it comes down to, really, at the end of the day. It's about trust, and the one thing that local jewelers have figured out is that, they want to be that person that you trust to make the good decision. And I think that that's a really big thing to just remember and think about, like when our businesses, it's just because people are going online doesn't mean they abandon the need to trust, and this is a great picture, just kind of showing the people flying through the air, like, I hope you catch me. But, when people buy an engagement ring, they buy jewelry, like they want to know that, they're making the right decision. They want to have that moment be marked the right way. They want, when they give that piece of jewelry, they want to see the reaction that they're looking for. They want it to say what they want to say, and that's all trust. So just don't forget that, because it's really, to me, I think the most important thing. I think that's the one thing that local jewelers have figured out, and they just absolutely stake their claims on. And that's, it goes back, if you look at what they say, that's why. And here's the basic math. So I have a client that's a local jeweler, and they were a third generation, and they went and commissioned a study from an outside company to go and actually go through their books for 35 years and study what the average value of an engagement ring sale is. And I'm just curious, before I give you the number, does anybody have a guess of what the average value of an engagement ring sale is in their business? Anybody got a guess? Want to put something in the chat? Nobody? Come on. 1,500. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? I can tell you that's not even close. 30,000. We're getting better. $30,000 is a pretty good guess. Actually, the number is $90,000. Now, this is not a business that I can tell you, he didn't make this up. The client I can tell you about knows his numbers the best of probably any business owner, jeweler, or otherwise that I've ever met. And what they found is that, the average first sale might be $3,000-$4,000, when the guy's buying his first ring. But what winds up happening? That person tells everyone they know about that store over the course of their lifetime. And as they come in, they make additional purchases. So, you come in to buy something for anniversary, for birthday, to buy something for something else. If you're like me, get divorced, you buy it a second time. And then as you get older, like, we've got clients that sell what they call anniversary diamonds, which are, a diamond that's at least twice as big as the one that you gave her in the first place. So understanding that, building trust, that this customer is not just a one-time sale, that it's not just that one purchase that they make, that they are capable of spending or being worth up to $90,000 in your business, is just a hugely important thing to keep in mind as you go, because it changes how you look at the business, changes how you look at your marketing and what the results are and everything else that's happening. So let's kind of walk through how you make this work. So as we're talking about kind of this, I call it play the long game. So if you talk to the most successful local jewelers, they will tell you that, and this is the same thing we run into in the e-com space. Like, does anybody on the call here actually think that they have like a real number for how long it takes somebody to actually buy an engagement ring from like the day they start? Like that first time they go search to the time that they whip out their credit card and buy something. Like, if I'm going to guess, if I asked every one of you on the call, you'd have a different answer. And that's okay. I've heard 3 months, I've heard 6 months, I've heard some people try and tell me it's 30 days. And then, you guys in the e-com space are well familiar with the fact that attribution is really taken a hit. And in the local space, what we find is that they have really sort of done less worrying about where people come from, because they know that, because it's a trust game, they play the long game. So I don't know if you guys noticed I put this picture up here. Chevy ran a commercial during the Super Bowl for their electric truck, this Silverado. I'm not even sure I like it, but I like the idea of an electric truck. And I knew that Ford had one, but it's not even available yet. So I saw the one for Chevy. So I hurried up and Googled it. And I'm like, the Chevy Silverado truck is available in, are you ready for it? 2024. So it's going to be 2 solid years before you can actually give Chevy your money for the truck, but they ran an ad for it. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, here's some advertiser that spent all the money to produce and make and buy a Super Bowl commercial for a product they can't sell for 2 years because they want you to think they're the company that sells electric trucks for the next 2 years. And to me, that is amazing because it's a totally different way of thinking. And the whole thing that I think I try to do with my e-commerce clients is to try and shake them out of this kind of straight line mentality and to start thinking, because the successful jewelers know it takes time. And so, you know, we really advise clients, like, and this is not to say you run willy-nilly, right? That you don't pay attention to your numbers. But what we mean is that you don't get hung up on your attribution by channel, okay? And so you have to look at kind of the bottom line numbers and how your brand is producing. So I'll give you very specific, like in the Google world and the local clients, I've got a client, they spend close to $1 million on radio in addition to the money that they spend with us on the digital side. 70%, maybe 75% of their conversions come from Google My Business. Like, how do you do that? And then when we go look at activity for e-com and online companies, it's often the brand searches that produce, you know, the best numbers. So I just want to tell you, I know it's a really easy thing to fall into, just like looking at numbers and go, well, our ROI from this particular thing is an X, and so we are not going to do it again. I think that kind of thinking is what I'm hoping I can shake you out of here at the end of the day, to go, let's not make quite that big of a decision, because it is a trap to really get baited into, like, okay, this one tactic doesn't produce anything. Because, you know, if you take and isolate like what you spent versus your bottom line stuff, that's really how you have to evaluate what's going on from a marketing standpoint. The second thing that I really like to talk to clients about is just the fact that, you know, I know that we want in the online space, and I just talked to a client earlier today who's like, well, I just want them to come in and buy. I just want sales. And I'm like, it's not that simple. You know, I know that, like, we want kind of the straight line thought process that, like, okay, I ran this ad, I sold this thing. So that's my world. But in the reality, your world looks like this. You know, you in the digital space, you serve somebody an ad, and in between here and there, no matter what's going on in their lives, they're going to do whatever they're going to do before they eventually become a customer. And I think in the diamond business, this is especially relevant, because the diamond purchase is an emotional purchase. It's an expensive purchase. It's something that people don't do often. So they're not likely to do this. They're not likely to go, oh, I found a jewelry website, let me give them my $4,000. No, it's like this. I found a jewelry website. That's pretty cool. Wait, my kid's at the door. My dog needs to go out. I'm going to come back to this. And they come back to this, and they might look a second time, a third time. And what we see, the reality is, you know, they wind up searching for the brand later and coming in and making a purchase. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? I would argue that it's neither. It's just the way it is. And that's what we've learned, to just really kind of think about what you have to do from a branding standpoint to stay in touch with that customer over the time period when they are in that decision phase. Because it's not just a straight line, like you had X price, then they get your business. It's like there's other things that matter. So one of the big things that we talk to local jewelers about, and I think that the online jewelers really can benefit from, is really tying into this idea of beliefs. And so at a very simple level, I like to talk about beliefs as sort of, you're either an Apple person or you're an Android person, right? Like, if you think about it, like, you're one or the other. So people either love their Androids or they love their Apples, and you can't talk them out of either one. It's pretty hard to talk an Apple person into buying an Android phone, and vice versa. But that's because you believe certain things, right? You believe your Apple phone is simpler, it's easy to use, it works better because it's all interconnected. Or you believe that you don't like being trapped by only being able to use certain apps. You like your freedom, you want to customize, you think that the world should be connected differently, you like Androids. So which one's better? I don't know, but that belief system drives your decision to purchase something. So I got this data from a presentation that in the sustainable sphere. So these are some stats that a colleague of mine put together, but it just goes to emphasize that, you know, people buy from companies that share their common beliefs. So basically this data just backs up what I just told you about who buys Apples and who buys Androids. But this is all well and good and all, but, like, what does this mean for you? Well, if you go just independently and just go search for stuff, I'm telling you, every jewelry website we get on looks the same. You know, if we go on jewelry websites, whether it's a local jeweler or somebody else, like, sometimes the local guys will do something a little campy or a little something to try and make it look personal, like they're local. But you know, at the end of the day, it's very hard for a consumer to get on a jewelry website and go, I'm looking at 2,600 engagement rings here, and I see a return policy and I see some reviews. Like, I don't see anything about this brand that hits me, that really makes me think that, like, you know, I can trust them, or that I'm aligned with their beliefs. And so that's why I think it's important for us to learn as marketers how to articulate what we believe. And when I say what we believe, I don't mean, you know, a slogan, right? Like a one-time thing. Like if you're in the lab grown space, like we believe, you know, lab grown is better for the environment, right? That's a good starting point. But when you look at this, you know, this exercise that we walk clients through about how to create statements for your brand that are about we believe. And rather than showing you ones that we've done for clients, because that's proprietary, I can show you the ones that we've done for ourselves. So we put these on our website, and they've broken into categories about what we think. But if you go through them and you start learning how to use these in your marketing, like, you don't have to use them all. So what we would do is, like, say we're running an ad, we might run an ad, but we'll make sure to include the phrase, we believe in detailed plans, not winging it. Or, you know, we believe the clients who pay the closest attention get the best results. So it's funny, I had a call with a client last week, and he told me the first thing on the call, he goes, you know, I read through your website, and I really felt like when I got to that we believe page, I really felt like you were talking to me. Like, that's all the things that, like, I've been looking for somebody who thinks those same things. And so, you know, when I hear that, it's always good confirmation from knowing that, like, by articulating what we're about as a business, that consumers who believe the same thing will gravitate towards us and will make purchases with us and make return purchases. And what winds up happening is, the difference is that local jewelers do this when people walk in the door and they talk to them. You know, they talk to them, they hear what they believe, how they think, and that connection gets made. But you guys don't always have that opportunity in the e-com and online space. You've got to hope that somebody reads it somewhere, or hope that you actually get them on the phone to talk to them, or through a live chat or something. So this exercise of articulating your beliefs is something that I think is extra important in the e-com space, because you have to tell people and stand for something, because otherwise they can't tell your website apart from the 800 places that they could get the exact same product, you know, unless you're one of those people that sell something completely unique that you make. And those people who make something completely unique, they actually do this intuitively. You know, we worked with some of those clients, and they're really good about saying what they believe, because their passion is behind what's in their jewelry. That's not the case with every e-com client. And I would argue the majority of the e-com jewelers that I see are suffering from a lack of specifics and things that anybody can get their teeth into. So I do want to tell you, if you're on the call, if you're interested in finding out how to do this we believe exercise, you'll send me a note. I will be happy to share with you. There's a video that we have, it's free, and I'll send you the guide. It's free, but I'm not looking for any money, but just an exercise on how to do these brand statements and how to put them together for your brand. And if you get nothing else out of this, I think that this piece of it is the piece that will help you start to transform your marketing, because as you articulate what you believe, you reach more people. And as they take their time deciding, they hear different messages over and over again that click with them about their beliefs match your beliefs, and that you're the company they should buy for. And I can't really kind of say how important this is. It's just, it's a core element for our business. The other thing that local jewelers are really, really good at is they're really, really good at getting you to talk to them before they buy something. And I can tell you that our largest diamond jewelers, guys are doing 30 million a year, don't even allow you to buy an engagement ring over $2,000 on their site. Stop and let that sink in for a minute. So the reason that they do that is because they don't want you spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on their website, because they know that you probably are going to have questions, or probably going to feel uncertain about your purchase. So they actually turn it off. They allow you to put it in a wish book, add it to a wish list, save it as a favorite, add it to your cart, but you can't buy it. And the reason is they want to talk to you. And the reason they want to talk to you is not nefarious. It's because they want to talk to you. They want to hear what you're interested in. They want to see what stone you're thinking, what setting. They want to see, you know, what your interests are, and then they want to help you make the right choice. And if the one you picked is the right choice, then great. They'll help you do that. But then they also want the chance to talk to you, develop the relationship, build the trust. maybe sell you a wedding band to go with it, or sell him a band, or just get to know you so that next time you need something, you come to them. But what we find on the e-com side is that when everything's focused on add to cart and buy online, that all these things get in the way. And this is a slide I stole from Facebook. This is from Facebook's, they call it the Discovery Commerce Project. And they just identified, like, these are all the reasons that people will hit, just leave the site. And e-commerce is really like difficult to get all this and get it right, because, you don't have their payment method, something's in the cart, or really the big thing that we see in this is the middle one, is pages are not optimized for mobile. I mean, I would just challenge you. I mean, have you actually pulled up your own site on a mobile device and really tried to go navigate and search through what you have and been able to do so successfully? I can tell you, if you've got a couple thousand products on your site, it is not easy. And that's part of it. So, some of the things that we suggest, working towards booking more consultations is, number one, you can turn off the cart over a certain amount, and make sure that people talk to you. Most of you have some kind of a texting widget on your site, although I have seen 2 clients in the last week that didn't have one. So if you don't have a text widget, get one that allow you to text customers back and forth. If you don't have one, if you need a recommendation, email me. I will show you one that we really like. It's not very expensive. And then don't be afraid to tap into what I call the feelings of uncertainty. People are on your website and they're looking around because they don't know what they want. So tell them, acknowledge it, say, not sure what you need. That's what we're here for. We're jewelers. We can help you make that decision. And those kind of messages work very well, I can tell you. Make sure that you make it prominent that you can customize something. There's been so much data showing that, especially the younger generation wants to put their own touch on a piece of jewelry, make it unique, even if it's just a little bit unique. Being able to customize something, you really have to talk to them at that point. And then, this is the piece that, I have conversations with jewelers all day about how much do you follow up with people. And, I'm going to tell you it's more than you think. I've got some more content on this in just a bit, but, following up with people is a good way to make sure that you're getting those consultations. And the other thing I would challenge people is to just, I mentioned about mobile. So, this is just an example, something that we do with clients where we try and help them. If you look at like this ad on the left, this ad is very not specific to product. You see this product taps into the emotion of, hey guys, are you starting to think about getting engaged? We can help. This is not a product specific ad. We're not trying to push a specific ring here. And you see this headline down here, it says, do this before you pop the question. That gets people's attention when you run it on social media, because this is the idea, the emotion of, I need help finding a ring, right? I want to make this a good process. And so what we'll do is we will work with companies to help streamline their shopping experience by, instead of dumping them into a website, putting them into like a survey tool where we can tell you like what we do. So we've helped hundreds of guys like you create a magical proposal. Let us help you do the same. When do you do your ring? And you ask them some questions, and the survey will kind of take them through step by step and ask them questions and collect their information. And then if you use the right technology, you can use marketing automation to put them into a consultation. So you can kind of see how this works from here to there. But this is an alternative for those of you who are kind of beating your head against the wall with like just sending traffic to the site and looking at conversion rates. It's a challenge to think outside the box with the consumer experience and those sorts of things. The other thing that I really encourage online jewelers to think about is developing relationships. I'm kind of stunned at how many that I talk to really look at each customer as like a single transaction. And so I think if you go back and look at sort of what the client is worth, and I can tell you that for our local jewelers, their most valuable weapon that they have is their email opt-in list. Because what winds up happening is people opt in for something or the other, even if they don't make that purchase immediately. Every time we run email campaigns or seasonal things, like we see the biggest lift coming from those email lists. So, this one's hard to generalize, not knowing who's on the call, but like in the case of like our diamond jewelers, we work into like making sure that when we are crafting the marketing strategy, that we're not really just heading for that one-off purchase. So it soaks into our social media. We want to make sure that we're covering all the different aspects of what they cover. So like, great, Valentine's Day just passed, so we made sure we had plenty of ads about $150 items, bracelets, necklaces, inexpensive earrings. Great. We are pretty much always running opt-in campaigns for jewelers at some point where we're doing a contest or some sort of giveaway in order to get an email address so that we can do some nurturing. And then we're continually like sending emails, even if they did purchase from us, because one of the ads we run, we see pretty consistently that the ad gets shared a lot, but it doesn't get a lot of comments. And it's kind of interesting because they're like, well, who's sharing this ad? And if you think about like what's in the ad, you're like, well, it's probably people sharing the ad, but somebody that they think needs to see that right now. So they don't necessarily want to comment on it and say, hey, Joe, check it out. You should see this from Melinda. Like you don't see that. What you see is them sharing the ad quietly. And I'm like, I love that. I mean, this person took and thought somebody needed to see this. And that's what the referral aspect of it works. You're really developing that warm kind of feeling. And then the last piece that I talk about is just leveraging technology. Really, everything that we've seen from this talks about, in the technology space is that people need to be followed up with more than you think. There's a real need to kind of, especially in the e-com space, when people come in and visit your site, they maybe have never heard of your brand before. In the local space, people drive by the store 100 times or they see a billboard or hear a radio ad or whatever. Well, that's a lot of impressions and repetition. In your space, in the e-com space, you don't have that luxury. You have to hit them again and again and again with a retargeting ad, with a, some kind of a social ad, with email, with texting, and it can't all be buy my stuff. It just can't. You've got to do things to kind of build trust, to build interest, to address their concerns. Like, are they worried about paying too much? Are they worried that you don't have reviews? Are they worried about, do you offer financing? Do you offer a return policy? Do you offer guarantees? Those are the kind of ads that we use when we run retargeting to address all those sorts of concerns and things that help develop trust. Because if somebody didn't buy the first time, they need to be warmed up. But I've heard some clients like Clavio, some people like Go High Level. We like a platform called WooSender. These are all different technology platforms that really help with creating long-term nurturing and follow-up systems that turn people into customers. And I can't understate how important that is, especially in the online space. And then the last piece that I wanted to just throw out here, and I know this has been a digital marketing conference, but the truth is digital is not the only option. I don't know if you guys, this is another Super Bowl ad. Did anybody see the QR commercial floating around on the Super Bowl? I sat there with my neighbor watching the game, and he was like, what is this, man? I gotta know. So like he ran up and snapped it, and it takes him to a website. And sure enough, he signed up right then and there. He's like, man, this is cool. I'm signing up. I need to see what the offer is. And he signed up. So there you had a digital, online only crypto company running a Super Bowl ad. Was that gutsy? Did it work? Well, it worked as far as I could see because Mike signed up sitting next to him. And I'm sure he wasn't the only one. But the reality is being honest, is that our local jewelers know they can't just rely on digital. Our most successful jewelers in the local space do a lot of mass media. They do a lot of niche and print. They do a lot of OTT. Those are all tools that are available to you depending on what your niche is. So, excuse me, if I can get cold. If any of you are in specific niches or things where you kind of wanted to brainstorm what some of those outlets might be, shoot, I'll be happy to talk to you about it. But it's a real thing because this is some data that we got from a research company, and they verified what we've known for years, and that the more channels you add to your marketing, the better results you get. And again, as a digital marketer, I'd love to tell you that it's all digital, but I see this time and time again that the more spots our clients go in, the better everything seems to work. And we call it the multiplier effect. So if you've never seen this before, if you've never experimented with this, I can tell you it's a real thing. And this is one of those things that again kind of shakes up people who are digital oriented. But I think your more experienced marketers and people who've been around the block will tell you that that this stuff is real. So I think that's everything I kind of had prepared today for us. I know I kind of ran through it. I was trying to get, I know you guys are been on calls a lot today, so I was kind of run through it quickly. We went through kind of the 5 strategies that we wanted to, and kind of went through what local jewelers are using. Based on some of the stuff we talked about today, does anybody have any questions or things that they want to talk about? Mike, you still awake?
Oh, I'm here, man. I'm here. Long 2 days. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, leave them in the chat. Give you guys a second to type something out or come up with some
I
questions.
hope everybody's going home to calculate their average value of a purchase after this.
All right, I guess no questions.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, Mike, I think it went out. I meant to put this slide up, but if anybody wants any of the information that we shared, excuse me, any of the belief statements, technology recommendations, any of that stuff, you can drop me a note. I'll be happy to share that stuff with you and help if you can. Mike, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing the replay.
Thank you for being a part of it, guys. Thank you for being a part of the conference this year. Shoot us an email. Let us know how you enjoyed it, and we'll post all the stuff online soon. Thanks a lot.